Hello, welcome to Forza Horizon 3. I'm here because Forza Horizon 5's got a sound glitch, and also it is Forza's 10th anniversary, and this week it's celebrating Horizon 3, so that's why I'm here to look at 10 unusual classic cars. I'm going to start off with this, which is an Alfa Romeo 75. I have looked at this car before in a video where I went back into Forza Motorsport 6, and I came here as well to look at this car. One thing I didn't mention is the platform for this car was actually used in the Alfa Romeo Sprint Zagato, which is another car I looked at in that video. Also, it was famously used by Top Gear host Jeremy Clarkson in a cheap car challenge. For those of you who want to watch it, go on to BBC iPlayer. It's on Series 11, Episode 3. So my next car is this, the BMW M635 CSI. This is a car I really love. Now this one's really special. I don't think anyone even knew this one was even in the game. I was actually going to choose the BMW 507, but unfortunately that's a DLC. Anyway, this thing is still cool. It's actually got the same engine as the BMW M5. Instead it's been placed underneath a much sportier looking body. This car's pretty cool. It produces 240 horsepower. But by today's standards it's really not that fast. Now another car you may have seen or may not have seen is this, the Datsun 2000 Roadster. This thing was created in collaboration with Yamaha to try and make a car that would compete with the European convertible sports cars from companies like MG, Triumph, Fiat and Alfa Romeo. This is sort of a more reliable version of a European sports car, and you can see it's got that classic 60s styling, and it was rather popular. 40,000 were made, and despite it being a D-Class, it is surprisingly quick. It's pretty lightweight, it has a 2-litre engine. I don't think it even produces 100 horsepower. But actually it's rather fun to drive even on time. I mean, you can flick the handbrake, get him round, it's quite fun actually, I like this thing. Okay, so this is the Fiat Dino Coupe, which is a car that was developed by Fiat alongside Ferrari. I was actually going to use the Fiat 8V Supersonic, but one, it was too expensive, I didn't have enough credits, and also I couldn't find any on the auction house. So I'm choosing this instead. It doesn't matter, it's still pretty cool. It's got that Ferrari V6. There was I don't know if it's the same one or similar. So I was using this Ferrari 275 GS. Yeah, it's okay. So this car's kind of cool. But I think you'll probably want some American steel. So this one's for the viewers in America if you're watching. The Jeep Grand Wagoneer. We might have scrolled across this car, we might have used it in an off-road race or two. But for those of you who don't know, this car was dubbed the first luxury SUV. So this was basically the ancestor to all like the modern Range Rovers, Mercedes, Maybachs. All these cars can probably trace their roots back to this thing. This thing was the first luxury SUV. And also, while I'm here, I thought I'd explore a few cool areas of the canyon. We've been to the game, we've been to the airports. This is the canyon. This is actually a place you can find these cool dingoes. I was going to show them to you, but actually I've seen something a bit more funny. If I just go to reverse here, as you can see, the traffic cars in this game are stupid. Now another car from Japan, and I'm in the city for this one. This is the original Nissan Silvia. Today you may know the Nissan Silvia as being a tuner hero. Everyone's just trying to drift it, add cool body kits to it. But anyway, this is where it all started in 1966. This thing was, only 550 were made. Well, it wasn't exactly a tuner car because the tuning hadn't really, taken off back then. But this thing is still pretty cool. It's got a 1.5 litre engine. I'd say about 150 horsepower, I think. It was also based on the same platform as the Datsun 2000 Roadster, which I looked at the second earlier in the video. Okay, now this is a car I've wanted to include in the video for a long time. Now, no, it's not an original Corvette. In fact, it's actually built in Germany. This is an Opel GT. It's one of my favourite European sports cars. Well, firstly, because it's got these pop-up headlights which are actually controlled by a lever in the centre console. I love that. It's also quite cool. I mean, it's only got 100 horsepower, so I upgraded it a little bit. Turbocharger, racing tyres, all that. And it's actually fantastic. This is a brilliant little racing car. It's very light, very, very nippy. It doesn't sound too bad either. But anyway, this thing's cool, but now I'm going to move on to something that's just stupid. Okay, now this is a car that's just plain stupid. This is the Plymouth Prowler. This is a weird name as well. Anyway, this thing was developed by that company that used to make incredible muscle cars, but switched to making this. It was developed at a time where they were trying to go back to like the 1950s and recreate like hot rod styling and stuff like that. You got cars like the PT Cruiser, which was also rubbish. Anyway, the problem with this car was that it had a pathetic V6 engine from a Dodge Intrepid, and it also only came in an automatic, so it wasn't desirable at all. Okay, so this is a car that you might recognise if you are a Japanese car enthusiast. This is a Subaru SVX. I had no idea this was in the game. I bet you didn't have any idea either. But anyway, this thing is incredible. It was developed by Subaru. It was designed by Jara, who also designed the Lamborghini Countach. And you can see it's got that same sort of split glass on the side window. Anyway, this thing had an all-new flat 6 engine, produced 230 horsepower. However, it only came in an automatic as well, so it wasn't that desirable, and that limited its top speed to 152 miles an hour, so it really just didn't have the stamina to compete with any of the other Japanese cars like the Supras and the Skylines and the RX-7s back in the day. So this one was a flop, and that's a real shame. If only Subaru had equipped it with a manual, then this thing would be much more desirable. And last but not least, the Volvo 123 GT. This is a car that you may have seen at the start of my second video that I've uploaded on this channel. It also was the first video to ever get 100 views. Anyway, this thing is amazing. I really love this thing because, well, it was the first car to introduce 3-point safety belts as standard. So if you have a modern Volvo, you'll notice the year 1962 carved onto the seat belt, and that represents the year when these seat belts were made mandatory on this car. So the modern safety can be traced back to this car. So there you go, 10 unusual and rare classics that can be found in Forza Horizon 3. I hope you like this video. I will make another video like this at some point, and until next time, goodbye.